go through using the tool. All right, so once we've pulled up the intranet page, we might see a pop-up at the box, pop-up box at the bottom. I don't have it here just because I've gone through and tested this lab earlier today, and so I already X'd out of that. But if you get one, just X out of that pop-up box. All right, we'll go back to our lab document here. So step 20 here, we're going to select Tools and then Hacking Tools. All right, and then we'll talk about the file we're looking for in just a second. So just come here and click on Tools, and then scroll down just a little bit on the page, and you'll see Hacking Tools about halfway down or so. All right, so once you find that, just go ahead and click on it. And then now let's go back to our lab document. We'll talk about the actual file name we're looking for our installation package. So it's going to be this htttrack-3.48.19.exe. So just look for the htttrack. So let's go ahead and do that now. So just scroll down on the page, and just a little bit down, you'll see that we have this right here. It's a htttrack-3.48.19.exe. So just go ahead and click on that one. You're going to see that it starts to download. You're just going to click the Run option. That's going to start the installation wizard for us. All right, so we don't want that. You don't want to see me because you already do. Bear with me a second. My bad. All right. So let's go back to our lab document here. So you'll see here in step 21, we did click the Run button. So now step 22, we're at the installation wizard, so that's open for us. All we're going to do is click the Next button and then accept the license agreement at the next stop. So basically, all we're going to do is like a next, yes, yes, yes type of thing, all the way to we get to the Ready Install page where we see an Install button. So we're just going to basically click through all this stuff. So we click Next here. At the next screen here, we have our license agreement, so you can read through that if you want to. I'll sum every license agreement in the world up to you. Sign your life away to us if you want to use this. So that's every license agreement in the world that looks just like that. So just go ahead and accept that, and then we're just going to next there. We're also just going to leave all the defaults in this install and just say next, next, next. And then finally we get to where it says ready to install at the top here, and then we see the install button at the bottom. So once you get to this page, just click install. It'll start installing it for us. And you'll see here it doesn't take too long. It basically launches it, or excuse me, installs it right away for us. All right, so yes, in step 27 we see here that yes we did receive a message that the installation is complete. So now what we want to do in step 28 is just uncheck where it says view the history.txt file. And so that checkbox next to that, and then what that's going to do is actually go ahead and launch the htttrack tool for us. So let's do that now. So this bottom box here, just go ahead and uncheck it, and then just click on Finish. And you'll see here it launches the htttrack tool for us. All right, so now we're going to go back to our lab document. So what we see in step 30 is we do see that pop up that says about, WinTrack, website copier, etc., etc. All we're going to do there is select the OK button. So let's do that now. All right, so now you'll see that we're inside of the actual tool itself. So let's go back to our lab document. All right, so our next step here is just clicking on Next, and then we're going to be taken to a page where we see mirroring mode. And then our next step is just clicking where it says Add URL. So let's stop at that point. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're just going to click on Next. You'll see here that we have project name, etc. And I actually think we were, oh, there we go. Oh, I skipped a step. My bad. There we go. I was jumping ahead a step. So yes, we're right here at step 31. Excuse me on that, guys and gals. So step 31, I looked at the wrong next option there. So step 31, we click the next button. So now we're going to enter in this PLAB for the project name, and then we'll also see a box that says project category, and we'll call that intranet. Now it doesn't matter if you use capital or lowercase letters here, and you can honestly name the project whatever you want, but if you want to follow along, we're just going to call it PLAB and then call the project category intranet. And it looks like I had a minor issue here, so if you get something like that where it kind of times out on you, just refresh it, and it should pull us back up here. We'll certainly find out. There we go. Good deal. So again, to refresh it, just hover your mouse over top and just refresh. Sometimes you get that in the lab environment. It's a kind of an occasional random thing, and not sure what causes it, but if we continue to have it, just let me know. But again, just refresh it and you should be good to go. So project name, Again, if you want to just type in PLab there or whatever you want to name it, if you want to put the name of your cat. I had seen somebody posted that their cat chews up like their headphones or their power cords. So my cat does the same thing. So if you want to put your cat name in there, you're welcome to as well. Project category, put intranet, or again, you can name this whatever you choose to. You're welcome to kind of free text those areas. Now we're going to get to the next I was mentioning before. And so now you'll see here that we have mirroring mode at the top. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and go back to our lab document, and we'll talk about our next step here. You might get a pop-up about AVG. You can just ignore that. You can X out of it if you want to. I usually just ignore it and move on with my life. All right, so now we're at the next that I was talking about. So you'll see here we're in mirroring mode. Now we're going to select the Add URL button, and then in the HTTP URL box, we're just going to type in there intranet. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're going to click on Add URL, so this button right here. And then here, we're just going to type in intranet. All right, just like that. So let's go back to our lab document. So you'll see here, we're going to select OK next. And then we're going to click on the Set Options button here in step 38. So we're going to click OK at this first screen here, and then we're going to select the Set Options button. So let's go ahead and do that now. So just click OK here. And then now you'll see down near the bottom we have the Set Options button. Go ahead and click on that. All right, so let's go back to our lab document. All right, so we just finished out step 38, so we'll scroll down. And you'll see that we do have a pop-up box. So now we're going to select the Proxy tab. And then in the Proxy text box, we would just want to actually type the word proxy all lowercase. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we see by default we're here in the Proxy tab. Just type the word proxy in all lowercase. And you'll actually see by default it pops in the next step that we were going to do, but if it doesn't, we'll move on to the next step just to show you. All right, so you see here that we did type in proxy. You'll see, again, it defaulted the 8080 for us in the text box after the colon symbol. If for some reason it doesn't, step 41 would be to just click in this box and type in 8080. But again, you see here, normally it does it by default. All right, let's go back to our lab document. So next, we want to click on the Limits tab, and we're going to make some changes here. So we're going to change the maximum mirroring depth, and as well as the maximum external depth. We're going to change both of those to 3. So let's do that now. So again, we're going to click on the Limits tab. So this one, the third option over here. And these top 2 boxes are the ones we're going to change. So we're just going to click in there, just type the number 3. Same thing with the maximum external depth. All right. So once we've done that, let's go back to our lab document. All right, so now all we're going to do is just click on the OK button at the bottom of our box there, and then we're going to select the Next button, and then we're just going to basically click Next and then click the Finish button. So just a few steps here. So we're going to say OK here. We're going to click on Next, and then we're going to select the Finish button right here. All right, you're going to see it start gathering data now. So let's go back to our lab document. All right, so you'll see, as I mentioned, the tool's running. Again, it's going to take some time for it to run. Might be anywhere from like 20 to 30 seconds, possibly even longer. Again, that really depends on like your particular connection, that sort of stuff. But generally around 20 to 30 seconds. Sometimes it goes a little faster for me. It really just kind of depends. Once it is done, you'll see a Browse Mirrored Website button, and that's what we're going to click on next. So we'll take a peek here. So you'll see mine actually went pretty quick, so hopefully yours went quickly as well. So the next step here is once this pulls up and you see the Browse Mirrored Website button, just go ahead and click on that. All right, so you're going to notice something pulled up here, and it kind of looks like the intranet page, but we'll talk about that in just a second here. All right, so you'll see at the pop-up at the bottom about allowed block content. So basically the content's being blocked. We're just going to say allowed block content. Now obviously in real life you don't want to do this and allow block content on your computer necessarily, but for our purposes, for the lab, yes we do. So just click that button there and it allows the block content for us. And so the block content could be things like, executable code, or even like code that doesn't look right essentially, or stuff like that. So one thing you're going to notice is that the website looks similar to our intranet page that we went to earlier to actually download this tool. So just kind of click through that and take a look at it. What we're going to do now, we're just going to right click here in step 50. We're going to right click and just view the source code of the website. So we do that by right clicking and selecting view source. And then what we're going to get is a pop-up box here in step 51 that shows us the code on the website, right? And I'll talk about something that you'll see here in the lab environment as far as what might be different than like your general website that you go to outside of a virtual environment, and then also as it differs in a kind of a best practice type of approach. All right, so let's go ahead and do that now. So you'll see here, if we just look at them visually, if you click at the top here, the tabs, you'll see we have our intranet page. We also have our intranet page here, and so just different aspects. And actually, they're the same because we're inside the tool still. But what you're going to notice if we right-click here on it, so just right-click on it if it cooperates with me. Maybe not. And so I may have to actually refresh mine. Let's see here. All right, so if yours is kind of frozen up like mine, just again, just refresh things. And we'll see if it's working now. There we go. So just right-click and view source down here, about halfway down or so. And then what you're going to see here is it'll pull up the code for the website. Now, what you'll notice here is that they're actually encrypting. It looks like they're encrypting using the aspect here of hidden. So they're encrypting the code. So we can get a couple aspects here. Of course, we know they're using HTML. Let's see here. We see they're using .NET. So we can infer that they may have some vulnerabilities to .NET attacks. We see jQuery, JSON, JavaScript, etc. So, I mean, there are some components in this that we can start to kind of wrap our mind around, like, okay, well, maybe these are different attacks or whatever. It's not a whole lot to go on, essentially, right? But I just want to kind of show you this example as, different types of things we can go on. So, I know I kind of answered the question I was going to ask here for question number 1, but feel free in the chat to post about different ideas you have of how an attacker could use this code from the website against a particular target. So feel free to throw that in the chat. Now what I'm going to actually do on my end while you guys do that is my other device actually just kind of clunked out on me. So the battery clunked out for some reason. So I'm going to, you'll see me opening the chat on my screen here, and that's cool because we're actually done with the lab. So I'm just going to open the chat real quickly here. So bear with me a second, but go ahead on the, well, that's kind of weird. I wonder if I lost my connection maybe. Let me refresh here. Let's see here. Let me just try to launch it in Firefox. And hopefully you guys can still hear me. Kind of hoping that. Hopefully the stream did not clunk out on me here. Bear with me a second. Don't hack me, is all I'll ask. Let's see here. So bear with me a second. If you guys can still hear me, just kind of bear with me as I get logged in here. And as long as I remember my password, I just want to pull up the chat real quick. I'm not sure why it... I think we're good there. Cool. So bear with me just a moment, everyone. We will get to the live session here, and we'll get going. I think I am channel 2 today, I believe. Nope, that is Kelly. So let's hop out of there. We will go back, and there we are. Cool. So I just want to pull up the chat. Okay, cool. Good deal. So go ahead and answer the question. I'm going to pull up the lab document again. Yeah, I'm not sure why my computer was going a little wonky on me there, but that's all right. Again, make sure you fill out the feedback form. We work through these technical issues. Sometimes, with running things, we might have a few. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I haven't reached the max. I forget the max. I think it's like 30,000.